Good morning. It is Sunday. It is my name's Allie. It's day 26 of the September series where I upload a video every single day. I refuse to do anything with this today, okay? So sorry. Today is another reading vlog, and I think I want to try to get these two books read. When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Nhi Vo and Woman Eating by Claire Kohda. These are very short books, but they've got a lot in them, I'm thinking. When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain is the second book in the Singing Hills cycle. The first one was The Empress of Salt and Fortune, and I had such a good time. This is when I was discovering that I really like storytelling and how a story is told in a book. And I think this is gonna have pretty much the same. It's about a cleric named Chi and Chi's little bird friend whose name is, oh my gosh, what is it? Almost Brilliant. They go around and they collect stories, mostly like for documenting history, I'm guessing. And this one is about tigers, mammoths. I don't even care what it's about. I want to hear a story. And I think these are set in a fictional imperial China. And then this, Woman Eating, I feel like this is gonna take me longer than I think. It's only 230 pages. However, I've heard that it's kind of dense. It's mostly literary fiction, but our main character is a vampire, but she's a very contemporary vampire. And I think it's like the coming of age, well, I don't know, like the college age coming of age for this young woman. I think she's separated from her mother for the first time. Is she like in art school? She's an intern at an art gallery. She also has a Japanese father, so she wants to learn more about that side of her upbringing and culture, but she can't consume human food. So I don't know. I'm so excited for this book. Obviously, with a dense sort of literary fiction, there are mixed reviews, but this is one of my 5-star predictions. I'm expecting to love both of these books. I think I'm gonna start with When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain. Let's go. Okay, I'm halfway through. Also, if I move randomly, the neighborhood kids have decided to haunt the tree right next to my office window. And they yell and they make faces at me, and it's menacing, okay? Anyway, I'm halfway through, and I'm loving this even more than The Empress of Salt and Fortune so far because of the way it's being told. And for someone who loves storytelling, this is like cake. I'm eating it up. So our main character, Chi, is in some sort of country-like atmosphere on the back of a mammoth with some girl when tigers start chasing them. And then they're sort of held prisoner, Chi, the woman, and a little mammoth by 3 tigers. So in the present timeline, stakes are high right now because the tigers want to eat them up. The tigers can also speak and turn into women. I don't know what that's about, but I'm just going with it and I'm loving it. And the tigers asked Chi to tell them a story about a famous tigress woman to see if Chi's documentation and the stories that Chi's, ancestors or the humans have gotten this story correct. So in this way, it's very interesting because Chi is telling a story. But even more cool is that the tigress is interrupting Chi's story. And then just now we heard a little rewrite from the tigress. So it's just back and forth of 2 species telling stories and seeing, what's been documented for each one. And it's just so cool. Like the nerd in me who just loves stories is freaking out right now. Plus we have the little bit of danger, will Chi be eaten? I don't think so, because Chi is just so lovable. I don't think anyone could hate them. The story that they're talking about is about some old, long time ago tigress who I think it sounds like she fell in love with a human woman. So that's always fun. All right, I'm gonna read the rest of this real quick. Finished this, and I wish it had ended a little differently, but I really loved this. I think I liked it more than The Empress of Salt and Fortune, and part of that might be because I listened to The Empress of Salt and Fortune whereas I read this, and sometimes I feel closer to books that I read physically than listen to. But yeah, this was definitely one of those things where I liked what was happening to our main characters as well as the story that they were telling. I liked the characters in both stories. And I think I'll definitely be reading this, more than once. The story that Chi was telling, or the story which she was telling and learning at the same time. The romantic in me loved that story, just about this murderous tigress who was in love with this human. It's one of those tropes where it's like, I hate everyone but you. I'm a sucker for romance right now. I'm just in that mood. And so to get it in this tiny little book made me so happy. All right, guys, now it's time to start woman eating. I need to have some coffee or something because I'm getting a little tired, and this is definitely not a book that I think I can listen or read while I'm tired. All right, y'all, I am 25% in. I'm on page 57, and it's taken me a little bit of time to get here, but I'm really liking it so far. It is very much a study on our main character. Like I said, this is the first time she's away from her mother, and there's a little bit of mystery in there because her mother is sort of sick. And so our main character, Lydia, has left her, and I don't think it ended well. But Lydia is, oh my gosh, I love her. It's funny because she has left home for the first time and she's doing adultish things, like she's going to her first internship. And so she feels kind of lost and she doesn't know what she's doing. She's not confident. But at the same time, it goes even more as a parallel for like leaving your home for the first time because she has to figure out how she's gonna get blood. And it's not as easy as one thinks because she usually eats or drinks or consumes pig's blood, but I guess it's illegal for a butcher to sell it. I don't know, but I'm stressed out for her. I need her to get some blood. I think the most #relatable part of this is this one line where Lydia says, right before she's about to go to her first day of her internship, she says, whenever there's something planned in my life, when it actually comes to the day that I have to go through with the plan, it goes from being something I'm excited about to something I dread. That is so effing true. I could be so excited for something, and then the day it comes up, I'm like, no, not leaving my house, not moving, not breathing, no. That's why I kind of like impulsive things. Like I'd much rather friends text me and be like, yo, I'm outside your house right now, hop in. Because then I'm so excited. Whereas my friend's like, hey, in 2 weeks, we're gonna go on this nature, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, in the moment. And then as it comes closer, I'm like, oh, the dread. But then I end up going and I have a wonderful time. So I'm gonna shut up. This is kind of the perfect day to read this book for me because it's so rainy outside. It's quiet, and I feel at one with our main character. I don't know, like we're both lonely little bitches, but like in a cute, relatable, romanticized kind of way.
Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into.
Guys, I'm on page 140 of Woman Eating, and I just heard something. So our main character stole this puppet from her internship just because she was really drawn to it, and she's kind of made it her little friend, which is just so adorable. But she found in a book what her puppet was. Her puppet's like real name, the creation, the piece of art, is called Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is a figure in Slavic folklore and appears over 1,000 folk tales. Each time she's visited by various people, young men usually, travelers lost in the forest, where she lives in a hut that is perched on top of a pair of chicken legs. And so I'm like, no way, because I just got Thistlefoot. And that's not a coincidence. And so I read the little description of Thistlefoot, and right here it says the house's original inhabitant is Baba Yaga. I just love it when books either reference other books that I'm reading or that I have, and it makes me so happy. I don't know why, because it feels like fate, even though I don't know if I believe in fate. But now I kind of want to read this next.
It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue?
All right, y'all. I finished Woman Eating by Claire Coda. I love this book. And I love today. I love the mood I was in when I was reading this, and that I was completely alone in my house while reading it and was uninterrupted. And I feel like you have to be in the right mood to read this because it is really slow and just a really close-up look of this young woman's life, about how she's struggling with just, being alive in this world as a human, but also as like a vampire, and sort of battling those two things and trying to find some sort of medium, because the way that she grew up, her mother told her there was a human side and there was a demon side. And so she was kind of shamed for being who she was. But even more so, she has mixed race. So she was bullied as a kid just for being Asian. And so she's trying to find her identity, and in so many different ways, as an artist, as a human, like just being alive, but then as a human, as like an alternative to a vampire. There's just so many layers here. And I loved it. It was the kind of book where the character is so lonely and so contemplative of that loneliness that it makes you feel less lonely. And I kind of got the same feeling reading this book, although this was a little lighter and a little more comical, but it evoked the same things that I got. And I just loved it. I loved our main character. I loved her puppet. I'm just obsessed with this book right now. This is the kind of book that I'm gonna want to read every year. I love the ending. I don't know. I can't really wrap my thoughts up. I feel like I wish I had vlogged a little bit more while I was reading it, just so I wouldn't forget my thoughts. But yeah, today's been kind of a very chill vlog where I don't really move from this spot, but you know what? That's really what my life is. I had a great day of reading. I have 2 5-star books, not 2 stars, that I really love and that I will keep forever and will read multiple times. I'm just so filled with book love right now. Just a random thought and like memory that I was thinking about my own life when I was reading this. Mostly when our main character is interning at this, like, I don't know if it's like an art gallery or it sounded more like a theater production, sort of a mix between the two. But she was kind of standing on the sidelines as there was this gallery where rich ass people were around, and they were looking at all the art, and they were just ignoring her, like completely not even recognizing that she was another being in the room. And the thoughts and feelings that our main character had reminded me of when I was a waitress, when I first started waitressing back when I was 19. I was so bad at it because there was just something so comical in it about like taking food orders from someone, especially when they wouldn't look me in the eye. So I remember this one time when it was like one of the first tables I ever got by myself. It was this family and none of them looked up at me. And the dad just seemed kind of asshole-ish, and he was like, give me a Coke, give me this, give me that, give me that. And he just like shoved his menu in my face, and I just started laughing. And not in like a, oh my gosh, what an asshole kind of way. It was more in a, I had this weird dissociation from my body, and I was like, this is so weird that I'm this human and he's this human, but like we're not looking at each other, but I'm taking his food order and I'm about to give him food. I remember, like, I don't know, I was having a moment and I just started laughing, and it started getting like crazy girl laughter, and he finally looked up at me. And I literally just walked away. I didn't even take his menu. I walked away because I couldn't stop laughing, and someone else had to pick up the table. And I just remember that being one of the most bizarre moments of my life that bled out from my imagination. Like, I think of thoughts like that all the time, like just how weird it is to be a human. But that was one of the only times that I kind of let it bleed out. And anyway, that's just a little insight to my brain right there. But yeah, love these books, love today. Back to work tomorrow. I have no idea what I'll be reading, but it is our last 4 or 5 days of the September series. So thank you all for tagging along. And I will see, oh wait, no, let me do my stats. Okay, so I read 122 pages of this book, and Woman Eating was 230 pages. So together today, I read 352 pages. In total for the September series, I've read 6,378 pages. And in total now, I've read 20 books, which just feels so satisfying to be on an even number. Okay, now I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.